How good does it get, SK?
Why not Australia?
Today, live from the Pinecrest Inn, it's the Smylie Show. So long, everybody.
This is the Smylie Show.
All right, guys, happy to be joined by Luke Clanton. Luke, this is the second time that you've joined us on the Smylie Show. And I had to go back and look when you came back on the Smylie Show last. It was July 8th in 2024. And Luke, I would have said that it was last year at some point. It's crazy to me that it's been this many events since we've spoken. There's so much to catch up on. There's been 26 PGA Tour events that you've played since we've talked last. And the last time that we did speak, it was right after that John Deere week in 2024, which you finished, I believe, T3. So, Luke, why don't you just get us caught up on, what it's like to be a PGA Tour pro? Because last time we spoke, I believe that you were still a Florida State Seminole.
No, it's been good. Obviously, I think, with the travel and everything, it's been a little hectic. I haven't been really to slow down, but I think it's been amazing. I mean, it's every golfer's dream to play on the PGA Tour, and it's just cool being out there with the pros. Obviously I was talking about with you, just kind of wanting to get out there and play, and to be able to call myself a PGA Tour member is pretty cool. But now obviously there's a couple more steps I want to make and do. And I think it just comes with time.
I think that's a good place to start. So I think many pros, once they get onto the PGA Tour as a PGA Tour professional, it's a little different, right? Like you're playing to get a PGA Tour card as an amateur, have all these goals in front of you and all these points to chase. And then when you get your PGA Tour card, all of a sudden, it's life on the road, right? Instead of going back to class. And last time I think we spoke on happy hour, it's like, yeah, I got to go home. This is at the Sony. It's like, I got to go do these midterms or whatever it was. It's like, that sounds terrible. So I imagine it's nice to be able to 100% focus on golf. But what's kind of been like just the day-to-day of being a full-time pro for you?
I would definitely say it's funny to say I have a lot more free time on my hands, which is nuts to say, but no, I think traveling week in, week out has been incredible. I think obviously there's been a little bit bumps in the roads and here and there, but again, I think it's just all an experience. I'm still 22 years old, so I look at it as like I'm this vet on tour, but I've only been out there for 7 months, and I hold myself to very high expectations for what I do, but. Again, I think my day-to-day, it's great. I mean, I wake up, pretty early still and go to the course around 8 a.m. and practice till about 2:30 and then go work out with my guy, Joe Russo.
Yeah, Joe. Shout out Stallion Fitness.
Shout out Stallion. I've been trying to put on a little more weight and get a little bit stronger just because, when you're traveling 5 weeks on the road, your body gets tired.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I realize is it's fun to be out there for a week or two and go back to college and rest for 3 weeks. But when you're traveling 5 weeks in a row, that fourth week comes around, that Monday, Tuesday, I know I'm young, but it's that practice round's a little bit slower. So, no, it's just been a lot of training and a lot of working out and a lot of mental, and it's been really good.
So what have you noticed the most about other PGA Tour pros, seeing them train week to week? Just their work ethics, maybe how much time they're spending, whether it be out on the practice range, on the golf course, what kind of stuff that they were doing in their practice that maybe you've been able to adopt a little bit, whether it's their gym routines and just the life of being a professional. And really too, have you been able to talk to any veterans throughout the weeks on just, how to be a better professional?
Yeah, I think everyone's been so supportive. I joined Bears Club, and, there's a lot of pros out there. And, obviously that first couple of weeks out there, I was a little bit nervous to even kind of go up to those guys and talk to them. But, they came up to me and, just were communicating. Like Camilo Villegas is a big guy for me, and he's always been kind of texting me and making sure everything's okay with me. But, I think the coolest thing, which is a little bit weird, we were playing this pro-am in Las Vegas, and I went down to the gym. We had this tee time 9 a.m. and I went down to the gym early. I woke up early, whatever, and I saw Justin Rose getting his cup of tea and coffee. And, later on I found out about his routine, and I saw it, always. I saw him in the gym. I always saw him recovering. I always saw this. It's how disciplined these guys are, week in, week out. It's not like, they're like, oh, maybe I don't have to do this. It is so disciplined and so much work ethic every week. And I think to me is you have to love the process of it. If you don't love the process of waking up and being able to go train, be able to go prep and do all these things, and probably still maybe not play well and then have to do it again next week, it's just the discipline of it, and I think I love the process of it. I think obviously I got a little bit ahead of myself early in the season, and I wasn't really looking at the bigger picture. I was looking at right now. And to me, like, I love being able to go get better, even if it's like, some days you're just getting out there and you're like, gosh, I'm not hitting it well. But to me, I just love that because I know there's always room to work on.
Well, you had so much immediate success, right? It felt like it probably felt like to you, oh, the PGA Tour is going to be a breeze when you get out there. There had to be some feeling of that, though, right? Like when you have immediate success at the highest level, you think, well, as soon as I get my PGA Tour card, it should be just like it was when I got these sponsors exemptions and played so well. For you, just like overall with your game, what have you noticed in this past year from going from Florida State to this PGA Tour accelerated program to where you started the Canadian Open, play a half season, if you will, 18 events. Where did you find the most? What did you find out most about your game during that stretch?
I found out probably the most was putting, I think. It sounds funny enough. I mean, obviously, I'm very confident in my ball striking. I think I strike it really well, and I think I can compete. But it's just funny how you have to just stay so confident with your putting. Even if you're out there and you're not feeling great or whatever it is, it's just that. Like, I play with a lot of guys on tour now. Obviously, I didn't even realize I played 26 events since I've talked. That's crazy to you.
I know. It surprised me.
That's nuts. But it's just how consistent these guys are within 10 feet, and I think that's what really wins events. I think like everyone can hit it well off the tee. Everyone can hit it pretty well into the green, but it's just how consistent these guys are inside 10 feet. And, I think it's that level of just stepping up every putt and being like, I can make this putt, having no doubt, even if you do miss it, going to the next putt and thinking the same thing. And I talked to Johnson Wagner a little bit, and we were on the putting green practicing a little bit, and he was showing me some drills, and he kept enforcing to me saying, every putt before you hit it, saying, I'm going to make this effing putt. Like, it's kind of like that. And it's like, it makes sense because it's like, if you step up to it with any doubt, you're going to miss the putt. I'm sorry. It's just not going to go in. And I had a little bit of doubt there early on in the season, and I kind of felt it kind of creeping. And I was like, okay, I need to make sure this is out of the door, and I need to just step up and be free. That makes sense.
So it didn't feel as much technique with your putting. It felt much more of a confidence thing. So like there wasn't anything structurally that you were necessarily working on with your stroke. It was just about like you felt like you were starting on line, more so just hitting putts with conviction and just trust. Is that kind of the?
Yeah, I mean, you said it word for word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think there's a few things that I maybe was trying to work on a little bit early on, and just scoring up the face, but. Again, like you watch all these guys on tour, everyone's different.
Yeah.
No one's the same. Like, no one putts the same, no one does anything the same, and everyone tries to tell you the perfect way of putting, but there is really no way of perfect putting. It's just whatever you feel is best and whatever you can roll, it's best. So that's kind of what I've kind of consumed as much as I can.
All right, so you've had a half season of playing all these different golf courses. What golf courses did you find that you liked the most? Because every week for you it's a new deal. It's like, all right, where do we sign up? Where's the locker room? Where's the range?
Yeah.
Where's the first and 10th tee? Where do I get my yardage book? All these things are new every week, and it gets easier the more years you play out on tour. But for you, like what golf courses and experiences of PGA Tour events did you like the most this past year?
I mean, obviously, I love Torrey. I didn't play well this year, but that course in general is just such a good track. It's just. From off the tee into the green, everything, it's just hard, and obviously what Justin Rose did this year, I was like, there's just no way that's possible. I was like, I couldn't explain it. Everyone was asking me, how did he do it? And I was like, I have no clue. That was just one of those weeks where nothing was going wrong for him. And that's obviously one of the best weeks ever. But again, I love RSM. I love Cognizant, PGA National. It's one of my favorite golf courses. I grew up playing there, and
got your card there too.
I did. That.
Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too, and what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago? How much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it. Yeah. Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers record was better, but he's still at James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I think every week just is just a different challenge. And I'm starting to realize, the green speeds and all these things and the rough. And, it's a lot more to it than you think, but you can't overcomplicate it. And I think I was overcomplicating it. And I think early on I was getting so consumed by trying to prep so well for the event that I was just getting overwhelmed. And I talked to my coach, Jeff Leishman, about that a lot. And, it's funny, he pointed something out to me, which was kind of funny. He was like, man, you play so well when you're in front of really big crowds, these events and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I love it. I love being in front of the crowd. He's like, but why don't you play well when you're teeing off at 7:35 on a Thursday when no one's watching? And I was like, I mean, I've not given up, obviously, but it's just that different mindset. You just have to go into every single day with the same mindset, of trying to play the best golf. And I'm learning that as I go.
Well, let me ask you this. In the spring of 2024, when you're going from college event to PGA Tour and back to college events, I imagine when you had that 7:30 tee time in college, when you got, your parents watching, your sisters watching, maybe a couple new fans that have watched you on the PGA Tour, I'm sure you showed up at that event thinking, not only am I going to play well, but I'm going to beat the ever-living stew out of every single one of these guys. And it's probably just all about a mindset, right? And it's so weird and funny how mindsets can change based on just where you are.
Easy. Yeah, very easy. And I think kind of, as you said, it's just that level of confidence. And I'm gaining it every week, no matter if I miss a cut or win, whatever it is, I feel like I'm gaining every week of confidence. And I think that's something I'm tracking towards. It's hard to miss a cut and be like, okay, I've learned something this week, and I think I struggle with that early on. But now as I keep going, it's like, okay, it's funny enough is when a guy wins on the PGA Tour, I always realize the next week they're just talking about the next event.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you get your little 5 minutes of fame and Instagram comments and all these things. And then next week it rolls around and they're talking about the Genesis and everything. And it's like, wow, it really just does skip over. So it's kind of just putting your brain okay, every week's different. I'm going to go out, play the best I can. And then the next week they're going to talk about someone else. So it's just putting that mindset of going out and playing for free and being who you are as a person.
It's almost the perspective of of looking at it from Scotty Scheffler's lens. It's, how often he wins and how often he contends. He's had 18 straight top 10s, and 15 of those 18 have been top 5s. We're just in the Scotty era right now. And I know he's got to spend some time with Scotty at the Golf Channel games, which, by the way, we didn't give out an MVP award, but I gave it to you at the closing ceremonies. That had to be fun too, to be on a team with Scotty. I know it was not a hit and giggle by any means. Like, it was still skills competition and all of this, but did you ever have enough time to be able to spend some time with Scotty in that and just feel like, it's somebody you can go to if you ever had questions of whether it be something about your game or just picking his brain about what he does so well?
Yeah, obviously, when we were kind of just, meeting everyone and talking to everyone, he was very just welcoming. Like, he welcomed me in really quickly, and, we were started joking around a few things and everything, but kind of just watching him work was just enough for me, and I asked him obviously a few questions just about religion and everything and stuff like that, but just watching him come, like, for instance, at Waste, I watched his first round, and obviously he's a little bit mad and whatever. Everyone gets mad. That's just how it is in golf. But for him to come back and almost win and then do it again the next week, didn't play well the first round, and then do it again, it just shows, like, it's just mentality.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, he doesn't care if he's even par through 25 holes. He knows he's going to be up there at the end of the week. And when you get to that level of confidence, it's just hard to get rid of that. And that's something that everyone's chasing. And but the way he does it is just so calm, in his mind. And he knows that his prep and his training and everything he's done leads into those moments. And it's just so cool to watch, like I have a really hot take, and I've always said this. I think he's playing the best golf out of anyone ever. Obviously, I know Tiger is the best. I love Tiger, and I think he's the GOAT, and I think he's done incredible things, but Scotty just doesn't miss. And when he does miss, it looks like a great shot, and it's like, it's just crazy to watch. And I think
it takes not as hot as it used to be.
It's not.
That take maybe last year been, hold on, Poe, or maybe year two prior. It's like, I don't know, but maybe we might have to wait till this summer once we get through this major cycle to see exactly how hot that take is. It might be, if somebody goes on the opposite side of that, it might be a cold take, when other people say that later. But hey, it's interesting too, you're, what did you say, 22 years old? There's a lot that goes into being a 22-year-old on the PGA Tour, whether it be, just having a whole team around you. You're building, you got trainers, you got coaches, you have caddies, but also too, like, your team changes over the course of your career. And one of the things that I internally struggle with the most, and I don't know if you've gotten to this point in your career, but like, having to fire people is like one of the most difficult processes that I've ever really gone through. I remember like walking around the hotel room for like days at a time, trying to get the courage to like have a conversation with my caddy who I'd had a lot of success with. I was like, hey, it's time. I need to do something different, but it just is so hard. And I don't know if you've gone, had to have conversations like that yet at 22, but you will if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I did. I released my caddy that was with me for 4.5 years, Jason Wertel. Everything was good. He was an incredible person. He was an incredible mentor to me through my journey of my first 4.5 years. And, it was just kind of a bit of a struggle because obviously he had his whole family with him. And
Sure.
This life is hard enough.
Yes.
And this is a 25, 27 week in and out every single year. And, I think I kind of knew that it was going to come up to an end, which obviously was the hardest thing in the world to do, to call him that and take the courage. I was walking around my room for 6 hours in the morning trying to figure out how am I even to do this. And yeah, it was tough, but again, like you said, it's just, at the end of the day, it is business. And it's just kind of one of those things where whatever is best for me and what I'm doing in my career, I have to make that decision. And it was so hard because I'm 22 years old.
Nobody prepares you for that, to fire somebody that
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Well, I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here. I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
I actually play money games with my hometown buddies, and I'll give them 15 shots, and we'll go out and play for like $100, $200, and it's cool. I love that. I love playing against my buddies because they
except
think
when
it's like
when you shoot
Augusta.
65, man. You shoot 65 and lose $200. That gets old pretty quick.
I did. I shot 66 and I lost 200, and I was like, damn. I thought I played pretty good there, but no, I don't mind paying that because it comes around, goes around, you'll buy me dinner, and it's great. So
yeah, those would be the same guys watching you play on the PGA Tour, drinking beer, and cheering you on. So you got
they'll be at the Cognizant, so you'll hear them for sure.
Amazing. All right, what about so your fitness trainer? So Joe Russo, good buddy of mine, good friend of JT's, Stallion Fitness. Y'all make sure y'all give him a follow. He's the man. But having a conversation with him about just where you're at as far as just speed is insane. Like your 91 ball speed that we saw at the Golf Channel games, like that's insane, by the way. It's so fast. But when I look at just your golf swing, it's super efficient. I love the technique that you have. How have you been able to kind of deal with what I didn't realize you had like in kind of high school, which was a little bit of a back problem that you kind of dealt with over, I'm not sure how long you've had this kind of nagging little back injury, but, how have you been able to transition into, with all this speed, learning how to first make it sure it's, in a canoe and you're not going to tip over when you're swinging this hard, and just having more longevity in your career?
So, yeah, it's, I saw the TGL thing, that whatever that club head speed thing, and I was like, I did not even know I was doing that. But it was funny in high school. I think I was like 14 or 15 years old, and this is a funny story. I mean, I had scoliosis, so I was struggling to even get up in the morning and even bend over, and I didn't tell my mom and dad because I wanted to play events. They were going to take me out if I told them I was hurting, and it was the South Beach Amateur, I'm pretty sure, and I think I was 14, and
it's always like December, right?
Oh, yeah. That was one of my favorite events because it was right next to my house. And I remember I was walking up the last green. I think my dad was caddying for me, and I could barely walk up the 18th fairway. And then so we went to a doctor right after Christmas, and he was like, hey, you have really bad scoliosis and a pulled muscle on your back. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And he was like, well, we could do physical therapy for like 6 months, or we can do surgery. And I was like, I'm not doing surgery. I was like, when's the soonest I can play golf? And he was like, well, we don't know really if you can play golf right now. Like, we don't know what's going to happen to your back. And at 14, my parents walked out of the room, and it was just me and him. And he told me, he was like, we don't know if you're really going to play golf again. And I looked at him, at 14-year-old Luke, and I was
Excuse
like,
me?
F you. I was like, I'm playing golf. And lucky enough, God blessed me, 6 weeks later after physical therapy, 7 weeks, I was perfectly fine and healthy. And ever since that day, I took the gym and stretching and physical therapy, all those things, super serious. And I realized with gaining so much speed, your body's not really ready for it. And I had to eat more food, gain weight, all these things. And now I'm the healthiest I've ever been. No back problems, nothing like that. I have great physio guy, Aki, which is the man. Joe Russo, obviously, and everyone. And, my body over the last probably 2 years has been just getting better and better and better. I haven't felt any pain anywhere, which is amazing. And, in college, obviously, you know how college is. Like, you step out on a 7 a.m. tee time and probably roll your back for like 2 minutes and then go play. And, I realized that's probably not the best thing to do all the time. And I started to take it really, really serious. And, I'm starting to gain speed that I didn't even know I really had.
Does it feel easier too?
It feels way. It doesn't even feel like I'm swinging 100%. It feels like I'm swinging 80%, and I'm cruising at 125 miles an hour, and I'm like, this is different for me. And I'm almost like trying to be like, okay, like how much can I really go more? Like, I don't want to like overdo it and then get so fast to where it's just the dispersion gets out of sorts. So, it's something I'm working on, which is a great problem to have, because it's, it's not like I'm not fast enough. And I think obviously with the wedges and, short irons, that's something that I'm working on really heavy with, because, speed's very important during that. And I think Jeff's doing a great job with that as well.
How do you train with your wedges? Is it just like TrackMan combines?
A lot of TrackMan combines. Yeah, a ton. And ball speed and swing speed, everything. Just kind of just understanding the realm. I think, in college, I did a lot of combines, but it wasn't super serious. But then as soon as I turned pro, it's just been a lot of wedges. I think when you play these golf courses, you don't really realize if you drive it well, you're going to have a ton of short irons in your hands. And I'm lucky enough to hit it far enough to have those opportunities. And I wasn't taking advantage. Even when I was playing well, I really wasn't taking advantage as much as I should.
Nick Kurtz will receive American League first place votes this year. You gonna buy that, George? You want to sell that? I believe we had Caminero, we had Raleigh, we had Aaron Judge,
Bobby Witt. He'll be there as well. I'm a big fan of Kurtz. No, we're not related, by the way, for those who are wondering. Okay, not as far as I know. I keep getting that.
You're a little taller than him.
Right, just a wee bit. Yeah, Nick is a.
Be like this, actually.
I'm not sure Nick would fill in his room. Yeah, that's something like that. But my only problem with him, I think he's gonna have a great year. All right, I think he's gonna have a very good year here. He's gonna be fantastic. I picked 12 in my points league. If he's there at 12, I'm taking him. I'm just grabbing him here. I don't have a second round pick, but I'm taking him anyway. My only issue is this: they're not gonna be very good, right? They may be a little better than expected. Maybe they approach 500, maybe. But it's tough to get MVP votes when you're not winning. All right, you're not in the playoff contention or anything like that. Are you going to be able to beat out an Aaron Judge? I'll buy. I think he's going to have a big season. I think he can get one. I don't think he'll be very, it won't be top 3 or anything. But I think he can get one. Yes, I'll buy.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this. I was really I understand what the metric said, and a lot of smart people, George, that I asked told me that Judge probably was the MVP. But man, Cal Raleigh couldn't win MVP with that season that he had last year. And I understand all we're doing is asking questions about first place votes, but don't think there's a lot of love for the voters with Sacramento, no matter what Nick Kurtz does. I'm going to sell this.
Fantasy Sports Today, Friday, starting at 3 p.m. only on SportsGrid.
definitely so. It's a fun event, and you know, as we kind of look at this entire season and just like what are kind of some goals for you in 2026? I know we're kind of at the intermission before we get to this four to swing, but from what you've learned from the West Coast, which it sounds like you're dealing with some sickness, which I don't know why everybody gets sick on the West Coast. It happens like to a quarter of the PGA Tour. It's awful. Just don't hang around Ludwig, I think is the answer, because he always gets sick on the West Coast.
I feel like I got maybe him sick because I got it like basically right after Sony. I started not feeling great or whatever, and I was like, oh, I'm fine, whatever. I just took some vitamin C and thought I was gonna be chilling, and then the prep was a little bit slower, and then Thursday rolled around and I was not feeling great, and then Friday morning obviously I withdrew and because I didn't want to get anyone else sick. And
Yeah.
then I looked at the leaderboard and I see like 5 guys withdrew, and I'm like, oh boy. I was like, hopefully that wasn't me. But no, it's the goals, for 2026 is I would love to say, win a major and win PGA Tour events, but I think to me is just growing into the process as much as I can. Not really concerning about the results and all that. And it's such a media answer. I know it is, but it's the truth. It's
Sure.
just like I feel like to me, I know I'm good enough to win. I know I'm good enough to compete against these guys. It's not like I have that any doubt in my mind, but it's just understanding like, okay, like I'm here. I have the opportunity to do something amazing. And, I grew up in Hialeah, Florida. We never even thought PGA Tour was even the mind. So it's like to be able to have this opportunity and show, the younger generation that you don't need a lot of money to make it out there and do those things is one of my goals. And I think it's going to be a really good year. I'm excited, and I know it's just, I have so much excitement that I have to lower it down because it's like, I just want to go out there and play well and win, but it's just getting involved in the process as much as I can.
Do you feel like you almost have to re-earn another PGA Tour card? Like you've already had to prove it once, like earning your PGA Tour card, but the way it's set up right now things might change as we head into a future schedule where, if you have a PGA Tour card, you're getting into every PGA Tour event that's scheduled. Now that things might shift in that, but the way it's currently set up, right? Like you've got to play well to get into that Aon Swing 5 or the next 10 to get into those events that you want to get into. So for you, is it a big proving point every time you tee it up is to try to get into those bigger events?
Yeah, I think I'm not going to say everything, obviously, but there's definitely been some people that have said some things, and I think I'm just excited to just, I've obviously proved myself that I'm good enough, but I want to prove that I am one of the best. And I feel like obviously I
should have.
Yeah. I don't want to be known as a media guy or, a social media guy. That's not me. I'm to be honest with you, I love doing it with those guys. I love, filming and stuff, but that's not the reason why I play. The reason why I play is to become the best in the world. And I'm just excited to, hold that trophy up and say what I need to say. So it's exciting.
Well, we're about to bring Charlie in here for some questions, and I have one more question. I think many people that listen to the show love the game of golf, and nobody gets to experience playing on the PGA Tour and what it's like. And I think just an interesting perspective, the fact that this is your rookie season, or I guess last year's your rookie season. It feels like you're you're young. You're 22 years old.
Yeah, I don't even know.
And my question to you is, you've gotten to play with so many different PGA Tour players, and they all do it a different way. And what's the biggest surprise to you about whether it be the old guys or whether it be the really talented players, about just the depth of the talent on the PGA Tour and just kind of what your takeaways been?
Every guy out there can win. It's honestly pretty crazy. Like when you play practice rounds, I played a lot of practice rounds with a lot of different guys. And Kevin Streeland was a funny one. Was like I played with Kevin. Kevin's a little bit older on the PGA Tour, and he's a phenomenal guy. And I remember I played with him, and he was hitting it like 290, 285, and I was hitting it a little bit past him, but he flushed it, like just flushed around, and like his short game was unbelievable. Like Zach Johnson's short game is unbelievable. Then I played with Jonathan Vegas, where he hits it like so far, and it's like a
dude,
bomb.
he stripes, man.
Oh, it's so good. Like you know, and then you play with Sahith Theegala, and he shapes the golf ball so much, and it's like, it's just cool to see like the creative part of golf. You know, no one really knows that. Everyone thinks we just play the same. Everyone's so much different. You know, everyone is like Rory, to me, was just the coolest thing to watch. You know, like he just stripes the golf ball.
Where'd you play with him?
It's just, I played the RBC Canadian Open.
Oh, that's right.
Obviously, he didn't play well. He didn't play well, but
the only time he's ever lost off the
I
tee
know.
in his career, I think, was that week. He must have been nervous about playing with Luke Clanton.
He
Had to
probably
be.
was. Obviously, he was shaking a little bit, but no, I remember. I think it was 18. I think it might have been the Friday or Thursday on 18. I nuke one, and you know, I think we both knew we were gonna miss the cut. And I look over at him and I was like, catch that one. And I should have never said anything because he's teed it up and this ball flew my ball by 20 yards. And I was like, damn, dude.
Isn't it crazy that gear that he has?
He's just so stout. Like he's just so built. Like it's crazy to watch because his swing is so just simple. There's not much to it. I mean, it's literally down the plane, a little inside, and just draws it. And it's like
the height that he can hit a driver is something that you got to see in person. You're just like, when is that going to start going down? Like it just
TV does not do justice to that ball flight at all. You know, it's incredible to watch, and I think playing with these guys, you just learn so much, and you learn that you can't really adapt what they do. You have to adapt what you do. And just get good at what you have. So
yeah, that's
cool.
That's a good lesson there. All right, Charlie, let's bring you in here. And one of the questions I have for my own little mini short-sighted, I know I just got to ask a billion questions, but before you get into yours, I was reading this transcript, Charlie. This was back at the John Deere, the second year you played, so this past summer. Yeah. And one of the quotes from Luke was about playing FIFA. And so I was like, well, this is a great thing to bring up because I forgot to talk to you about it, Charlie, because to get into questions.
We just got to start there. Like, who's your team? Do you support this team in real life? Do you only play with them all in the game?
Yeah, it's man, this could be bad. Obviously, I support Tottenham because of my teammate.
We found it. The two of us. We're the last two. How about us? We might get relegated. We might,
but it's okay. It's fine.
Okay, good.
No, Jack Bigham, my teammate that I was with for 3 years, lived with him. He would wake up every morning at like 10 a.m. and watch the game. And I'd come out there and he had a beer in his hand. And I was like, dude, this is unbelievable. And I was like, I had to support. So it was, it's cool. But no, FIFA, we cheese, man. We'll use like Bayern Munich and it's just like the best team on the game. And like, or we'll use like Man City and it's just like, we'll just use the best teams in the game.
We all run twos? We all run twos on it?
We'll run 1v1s and it gets really heated.
Okay.
It gets so heated, man. We had to stop playing for like a month because we wouldn't talk to each other. But no, I've switched to Madden, so I'm a big Madden guy now. It's bad.
We travel with it, or you just play it at home?
Xbox everywhere. It comes with me everywhere.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Oh, so you
every week,
like a hotel, you're logging into the Xbox and playing.
I have my own Wi-Fi. I have everything. Yeah. So like, it's like the way I disconnect. I get all my training done. I'm like, all right, let's play Madden, and then. Yeah, it's me and my caddy, James Treskis, during, I think it was Torrey, we had like a schedule set up to play games. Like we had like legit schedule to play games. And it was so funny because we had to disconnect that because like whoever won would talk so much trash and the other guy would be so quiet. And then the next game would come around, he would win, he would talk trash. It's just so much fun, man.
I feel like lifetime anger management. I feel like I did a pretty good job. I never was a phone breaker, but the amount of controllers I broke in college over FIFA games,
that's bad. Yeah.
So sometimes the game's rigged, Luke, and
it is.
It really is. It's rigged against you. Who's out of curiosity? Who's your favorite Spurs player of all time?
Sports player of all time.
Spurs.
Tottenham.
Spurs. Tottenham. Yeah. Tottenham. Yeah.
Tim Duncan.
Nice.
Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it. Yeah. Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, so the next question I have for you, I'm going to introduce with the picture because I found this on the internet, and I love this picture so much.
Wow!
Look at this. It's you got Akshay Bhatia here. You got, I think the Ford brothers are in here. I mean, this is Alexa Pano. Like,
Dude, look how young David Ford looks in this.
It's so good. And so I want to use this picture, Luke, to tee up when you're playing this sort of phase of your career, or this of your junior amateur career. Who is the guy you played with who you said, wow, like that guy's game stands out? Like that is head and shoulders the best player out there. Could be a female or a male, but just the player that stood out like that.
It was Akshay.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like I'm not going to try to give him a big head or anything, but it was the Dustin, that was the Dustin Johnson event or World Johnson event or whatever. And I remember we were like playing a practice round and everyone was concerned if Akshay was going to play. Like everyone was like, oh, is Akshay going to play? If he plays, he's going to win. And everyone's like, oh, he's not playing. He's not showing up. And then I remember out of nowhere, like the first round comes up and he just shows up on the first tee. And we're all like, damn, like, all right, here we go. I remember I played like the best golf I played. I think I was 14, maybe 15 at that time. And I remember I came second and I lost by 7.
Wow.
I was like,
we see that here on the picture.
Yeah, I got dominated pretty bad. Is that Michael Brennan as well?
I think so.
Oh my gosh, it is.
I think so.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I love that. Okay, so
No,
Akshay.
Yeah, Akshay for sure.
All right, so now Smylie talked about the Golf Channel games. By the way, I would second that. The 14 club, your performance in the 14 club was enough to earn MVP awards alone. But all right, let's say you're the captain of your team now. You're in Rory's position. You're in Scotty's position.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to put together your 4-player Golf Channel games team. Who are you drafting to put on that team?
I think I know who he goes with, but we'll see.
Let's see.
I mean, okay, obviously I want to go a little bit of personality because you got to have a little bit of fun out there. I think I'm going to go Michael Thorbjornsen.
Okay.
Love it.
I'm gonna throw Carl in there, obviously, just because I need my 2 boys there. And then for the final pick, ooh, gosh.
Feels like Scotty's the right answer.
I feel like I have to go Scotty. I feel like I have to, but I really don't want to because, like, if he plays, he's just going to be the best and just show off. So, gosh, man, that's tough. I'm going to go Ha Tong Lee. That's
Yes.
my final pick.
Yes. How Tong
A
Lee.
little bit of personality there. Come on, man.
He's
give
gonna
me
be
a
so
have some
excited that he made the lineup.
He's just like the ringer every year of the Golf Channel
Yeah.
game. He's the
We need
last
him.
guy that brings the vibe.
We need
I
him
love
there.
it.
We
I
need
love
him
it.
there.
Okay, all right. I have another picture for you here to tee up a question.
Oh,
I
gosh.
think this is Country Club of Miami where you grew up. This is a little young Luke Clanton out there.
Oh my gosh.
What was your all-time best score at Country Club of Miami? A place you played kind of growing up. Talked about how much it formed you. I think it's a really, really cool story. But what's the best score you've ever shot out there?
So I remember I think it was might have been my like senior or junior year of high school. I was bored one day and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go out and play. And I went out and I shot 60 by myself. And I remember I walked in, I tried to turn it in, and they said, we're not gonna take it because you weren't playing with anybody. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough.
That's good handicap management right there.
It is.
That's good
it
handicap
is,
management.
it is.
Yep.
I did double the last hole as well.
Wow.
So I was playing some good golf. That course is,
That hurts. That just hurt me.
It does.
Have you shot in the 50s?
I shot 69 times. I have not shot in the 50s yet.
You shot 69 times?
9 times. And twice I've been 13 and 14 under going the last hole. It's so brutal, man.
Oh,
it's brutal.
man.
I know.
You need to come to our Highlands
what's the
here in
place?
Birmingham.
That's right.
I shot 56, so maybe if you want to
56?
Par 70, I think it's a 5,900-yard golf course, so
I don't care. I
still
hate when
got
people are
I
like
still got
it's
in the
short.
ball. I got
Yeah.
it in the hole in 56 strokes, so that's got to count for something.
56 is crazy.
This is good. We'll
That's
do like a home and
unreal.
away. We'll do like a home. We'll do a Luke's Cuban spot, and then we'll come play Highlands. We'll do
I
a
like
home
that.
and home
I'm in.
series. I love
It's
it.
great, man. It's such a fun track too. It's drivable par 4s, short par 3s. I did it with a bogey too on a 110-yard par 3.
Dude, that's like I'm sorry, but that's incredible. 56, no matter where you're playing, is nuts. That's sweet.
Humble brag.
That's
Humble
great.
brag.
All right, last two for you here, Luke. The second to last one is it's the Olympics, so this is sort of a topical question we're asking you here. Your medal podium for Florida State golfers all time: bronze, silver, gold. Florida
Ooh.
State golfers. And again, I know Lottie Wode pretty good at the game of golf. Give me
man.
male or female, whichever way you want to go here.
Didn't you and Lottie play Grant Thornton together?
Yeah.
Right?
We did,
Yeah.
we did. I was very intimidated for sure. I was nervous playing with her. No, she's a sweetheart. Gosh, that's tough, man. I mean, I think am I allowed to put myself up
Yeah.
there? Or,
Heck
okay,
yeah.
hey,
Yes.
I'm gonna give myself bronze.
Yes.
I'll put myself in bronze. I'm gonna give. So this is just college career, right? The college career.
You know,
or we're doing their
you can
whole
make
career.
your own criteria. Yeah,
No,
it's
I think
it's
it's
collegiate career.
no,
Just
I
Collegiate
think
career.
well,
Yeah.
I think they're just Florida State golfers in general. Like when we've
Yeah.
had
Oh.
because we asked Cam Young about Wake Forest golfers, and you can't just look at Arnold Palmer's collegiate career as a
That's right.
criteria, right?
That's
Like
fair.
I
That's
think
fair.
it's looking at it at a
Yeah.
Smiley's got a very strict set of rules. for
I
my
mean,
resource
I'm
side.
just-
I
Like,
need
obviously,
I need the
yeah,
most
I mean,
I need the
it's
best
hard.
I need the best answer here.
Gosh,
You can have
I
two different
mean,
categories too if you want a
all
medal
right,
podium
I'm
for
gonna
college
put, I'm
and then
gonna put, I'm gonna put college. I'm gonna go me, Lottie, and then I'm gonna go Daniel Berger.
yeah.
Book.
But
Love
for
it.
total of like all time, I think Brooks is gold. Obviously, I mean that guy's a dog. I'm gonna go Daniel at 2, and then Jonas Blix at 3. I think
Blix.
that's a pretty good
Love it.
reference point. Obviously, I would put Lottie up
Love
there.
Jonas.
She's already won like I don't know how many times. She's incredible, but yeah, that's a hard one because there's just so many good players. Even guys like there right now, like I think one of the guys there is going to be really, really good in a couple of years. Like you're going to see his name popping up a lot.
Give us a little teaser. What's his name?
Just because we're in the business of following young talent, can you help us out here?
His name's Tyler Weaver.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we've-
yeah.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too, and what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago? How much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Well, I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here, I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody is hired to be fired in this business. Like, very few people, stay on their team for the entirety of their career. And if you do, then you've had a great career. That is a good problem to have. So
no doubt.
I just thought that was interesting to kind of talk about that, because it's something that's a reality that not, when you look at just a regular business world, a lot of times it goes age down when it comes to hiring and firing with things. So it's just a little different for PGA Tour pros.
100%. Yeah, it was I talked to my mom for like 2 hours on the phone, and she was like, yeah, you just got to deal with it. She was like, my mom's a very straightforward person. My dad's the one that's all emotional about everything.
You need your mom to make the call, man.
I know. Dude. She's cutthroat when it comes to that type of stuff. But no, it's tough. But again, like, I think everyone kind of knows. His name's Tyler Weaver.
He played Walker Cup, right? Is he English? Yeah. I followed him around at Cyprus. Good, dude, really good player. Really good player.
He's incredible.
Wrote it down.
Yeah. Tyler Weaver. Like, that dude's really good. And I remember, like, the first time we played together, we play with a lot of golfers, and we're all like, oh, like, that's good. It was the first time where I was like, damn, like, that is, like, different. Like, he was hitting at 330 on a line, and I'm like, okay. And then his wedges were really good. I was like, this guy's legit.
I love it. All right, we got one to circle and underline. And then the last question is, a couple guys that might end up on this podium long term, pieces of advice that you give to Miles Russell and Charlie Woods, they prepare to become Seminoles.
Or what not to do.
yeah, that's probably the better answer. I think the biggest thing what we did when I was there, which was so cool, was the culture we had in the team was like a brotherhood. My freshman year when I walked in, I had this high ego, and I was like, I'm not going to let anyone tell me anything wrong. And I remember, like, the seniors and the juniors was like, hey, you're going to throw out the trash. You're going to clean our clubs. You're going to do everything for us. And I think that's just the way it's supposed to be. I think no matter who you are as a freshman, you're supposed to do the freshman duties. I picked up the bags. And then I made a bet with them. I said, if I beat you, is it fine if I don't have to do it? And they're like, yeah. And then that was my motivation, obviously. But I think the biggest thing is just enjoying it. I think we get so consumed by, like, okay, I'm going to be here for a year and then go pro. I think, obviously, like, now, with Miles and Charlie being there, it's just going to be a lot of media and a lot of attention. I think they just have to kind of be like, okay, these are my brothers, and I'm going to enjoy and I'm going to love it and I'm going to fight for them. I think that's something that we may be losing a little bit. I don't know if we are, obviously, but I hope that they just stick together as much as they can and talk. It sounds a little bit weird, but sit down and have a conversation with each other. You guys are fighting for your job, trying to get a job, and they're young and they don't really know what's going to happen. And when it does, their eyes are just going to open up. Obviously, Miles has done some incredible things already at such a young age, and Charlie's doing incredible things at such a young age. I think the expectations are going to go higher and higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
I think just be together and understand, hey, this is my brother. I'm going to fight for him. And when we go out there for a national championship, it doesn't matter how good your team is. It matters how close you guys are, because when you're coming on that final stretch, you're not just playing for yourself, you're playing for your team. And I think that's something that I love so much being around my boys. It's just we fought for each other. We loved each other. That's what the difference was for us.
That's really
Love
cool.
it.
And
I
Charlie,
love
just to give you an example, the difference between putting the clubs into the van or carrying, cleaning the clubs off. The role for the freshmen at LSU was actually to roll the kegs down the hill after the tailgate down to the house. They got the kegs set up. We'll give them credit there because they were of age, but our role was getting the kegs down the hill and to a safe place. So you can just picture SK just running down with the keg and
It's
yellow
a built-in
pants.
conditioning exercise, right?
I wore yellow pants to every game. I don't know why. I didn't have to wear pants when it was 95 degrees in August, but I thought if the team out there was putting it out on the line, that I should, do the same.
I did keep it PG. So we'll say that. But no, it was incredible. Those guys, changed my life, and I can't thank them enough.
All right, Luke. Well, we appreciate you coming on, man. The only thing we have to ask of you, if you win at Cognizant, we need 2 minutes from you. That's it. Just to come on here with the trophy, just to celebrate.
Come on, man. No doubt.
I hope to see you in the winner's circle sooner rather than later. We appreciate you coming on, man. We love talking to you. You have such a great perspective on the game, and watching you hopefully take off this season, buddy.
I appreciate you all. Seriously, it's been fun.
All right, Luke. Thanks, man.
We'll see you next week on the Golf Channel. This has been The Smylie Show.
I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our local fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too, so please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the...
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.